Hi, I'm Kirk Ensley, and today I'll be showing you how to install the radio bezel in your Element. Everything you see before you should be included. You should have a nice soft cloth. You should have 2 Allen keys, one small, one large. You should have a prying tool, 2 square well nuts, and 2 round well nuts, 4 M4 screws, 4 M6 screws, and of course the radio bezel itself. If you've got all of that and your Element, we can get to work. All right, for step 1, you're going to get your nice soft cloth. You're going to get the prying tool, and by their powers combined, we can remove the radio bezel. First, you're going to use the weird looking end. You want to stick the pointy end up in your cloth, take the whole thing, shove it nice and tight down here in the corner, and then just pry, and it should pop the bottom right off. Do that on both sides, so now that you have access to the inner part. Now we're going to take this, we're going to reverse it, you're going to put this pointy end into your cloth, and now you pull out the bezel a little bit, just enough so you can see a slot here. You then insert your prying tool into that slot and pry forwards. And it should pop right out. Again, do it that side. Do it the other side. And now the old radio bezel should be off and you can throw that in your parts bin forevermore. The next step is very easy. You take your square well nuts and just shove them down here in these bottom ones. Make sure they seat all the way in. Then you take your 2 round well nuts and they go up here in the top ones. Make sure you get them at least near the center. If they're not near the center, you'll have to do some finagling later, so center them as best you can in those slots. Alright, for the next step, you're going to want the radio bezel itself. You're going to want the small little M4 screws, and you're going to want the smaller Allen key as well. For this, you take your bezel. Make sure these nubs are pointing in towards the dash. You don't really want them sticking out. I mean, you could put it on that way, but I wouldn't recommend it. You're just going to want to stick it in there, and it should kind of hold itself in place. Now you can take your small screws, put them in the upper holes, and just get them started with your fingers. They should thread very easily. Just get them to bite. You don't need to tighten them all the way down just yet. Do the other one as well. And you can do the lower ones. Just one. These ones take a bit more effort to thread, but it's just because I'm using a different type of well nut in the bottom. Once those are threaded, you can push in on the upper part and start tightening these down. And just like that, the radio bezel itself is installed, and now mounting the 1-inch ram mount balls, you're going to need, of course, them themselves. You're going to need the larger Allen key, and you're going to need the black M6 screws. You want to take the screw, put it through your mount, and you should be able to just get it started with your fingers. Do the upper one, then the lower one. And if you're not going to put them on both sides, you still should put the screws in just to cover up those unsightly holes. Again, you should be able to just start them with your fingers. And then you can go ahead and tighten them the rest of the way down. Now, once those are nice and tight, I can show you the other special feature of this bezel. On these, you've got these little holes down here, and they're for cable management. So normally this cable flops all about and it's just generally in the way and a problem. But because there's no bottom on this bezel, you can actually take this and you'll find there's a little slot down here below the radio that the cord will just nicely tuck into. And on top of that, you can take a zip tie, and you take this little end right here, bend it over nice and tight, and then you should be able to just take this and easily pull it through. And you can manage your cables this way. Of course, once you have the zip ties nice and tight, you'll want to take some flush cutters or anything like that and just trim the end off. Otherwise, it's going to be very ugly. And there you go. You're pretty much all done. You need to attach your accessory to this, and I think you can figure that part out.